Good morning, Namaskar. Welcome to HORTAK-49. Today's speaker is Dr. R.K. Pathak and Miss Binita Shah. They will speak on organic farming using biodynamic calendar and technology. On behalf of Progressive Horticulture, I, Shiv, welcome the speaker, Dr. R.K. Pathak. Now I request Dr. R.K. Pathak to start the talk. Sir, please.
Everybody, it's a beauty. At the outset, I should convey my gratefulness to Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, particularly for giving me this opportunity, and Mr. Shiv for coordinating this activity. Well, conventional agriculture is based on fossil fuel and imported source of energy. We are not producing a gram of potash or is imported. Similarly, number of the pesticide, number of the fungicides, they are imported and they are becoming fossil fuel is creating all this problem and they are becoming expensive to the farmers, to the government and also to the society. Now, what are the things? It's question of energy. From where you are getting energy we are getting. With this advancement of science, we have forgotten that we can administration on the nature. Nature, then the soil, the cow, Ganga, they are our mother. If we respect them as a mother, then they will nurture us as our children. But somehow, on earth, we felt that we can do everything. We have to reflect. The current disorders, I am 100% sure, whatever the disorders, it's not only in India, but in whole of the world, it is because we have damaged all these things. Well, I was not knowing everything about this organic farming, but I heard one lecture in 1998 in Chandigarh, and one of the scientists from Europe, he was delivering a lecture on biodynamic farming. It was really new thing to me. Then I went to him, discussed that is it working? He said yes, it is working. And after that, returning to the Lucknow, I was working as the chief technical advisor in Outside Agriculture Support Project, and in that Outside Agriculture Support Project, we decided that we are going to take one villages in one district of the 21 district of Uttar Pradesh, and within 3 years, can we go ahead with this agrochemicals as a whole? At that time, I could know that there was a Peter Proctor. He was international trainer for biodynamic farming. He came to Lucknow, and along with that, the today's main speaker, Binita, she came also. She delivered one lecture in 1999, and she has ignited so much that right now, from there, it is after going 25 years, that I am just trying to see what is the science behind that. In UPDAS, the result of the biodynamic farming had been fantastic. But what happened that what is the science behind that? When I joined in 2000 as a director of the CISH Lucknow, one of the ICR institution, I asked one of the scientists, Dr. Ram, who was working already on for nutrient. I asked Dr. Sir, you see what is the science behind that? After within 2 3 years, the results had been so much fantastic that we presented a paper, FAO conference in Bangkok, and my paper on biodynamic farming was just one of the best conceived paper on biodynamic farming. So this is in brief about the biodynamic. Now the question is this: that what are the facets of this biodynamic farming? Then I have certain slides. The current NPK theory. I must tell you, the NPK theory it came from Germany because Germany was a very advanced country at the time of First World War. There was one chemist, Liebig. And Liebig, well, I call it Liebig is NPK theory. And this NPK theory has so much expensive that everything we are creating a problem. And this, in the same time, Dr. Rudolf Steiner from Austria, he delivered German farmers within few years. They started feeling that the same amount of the earning, they have to put more fertilizers. So Rudolf Steiner delivered 8 lectures that is called the basics of the biodynamic farming. So that's after this lecture. Then what happened? There are the two components. One is the biodynamic calendar, and other the biodynamic production. So if the Binita Shah, after this lecture, we had been meeting and all these things. Such just a dynamic lady. See, as in case of biodynamic farming, she will be going to tell all of you that there are certain preparations which we could not produce at our farm, but at Super Farm in Nainital, they are already producing it. I think she is going to discuss it. Then, Sis Binta is a social entrepreneur, really dedicated doctor. There is one cow horn is being used from where she can get. Once she was telling Dr. Pathak, I went to Bahrain district and within few days I collected 7,000 this cow horn from there for production of this BD 500, something really fantastic. So now see the Uttrakhand and with Binita, we started with two villages, one village in the Dehradun district, another village in Nainital district, and after that Binita was in charge for the Uttarakhand whole organic program, and then she was head of the organic community board from 2003 to 2015, and now she is already in the Nainital. So all these things, what she has done it, I think it is better. I have certain presentation for my that is about the bad farming, and then Binta, I will request Binta to share her experiences. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Mediation of cosmic energy in through biodynamic calendar. This is my topic today. I think you must be sure that we want breathable air, oxygen. Without oxygen, nobody can live for more than 3 minutes. Drinkable water, eatable food, sound living environment, strong and harmonious society. Kindly ponder on that current situation, what you have done. Discuss if you are agree that these are the human require, then ultimately we have to think what is the alternative for that. Apprehensions in promotion of organic farming. It is now over 2 decades. I have to fight everybody. Can organic farming India can feed ever-growing population and with the sinking natural resource? This is one problem. Can country in one go, whole of the country go for organic farming? Yes. Then are there enough organic biomass available for conversion of entire area as organic? Is organic produce commodities are better, nutritive and therapeutic? Lot of questions are there. Can pests and diseases be managed with organic techniques? Our organic farming practices are eco-friendly and cost-effective. What I say, with the agrochemicals, we have disturbed the soil biology and environmental ecology, and we are getting all problems. So we have to think something so that no, we are not going to put any chemicals on that. These are the issues. We decided in 2000 that if we are able to address all these issues, then we can say definitely let us go for organic farming. Continuous improvement in physical, chemical, and particularly biological properties of that is very important. Then improvement in soil organic carbon content. My goodness, in whole of Uttar Pradesh, organic carbon has been reduced less than 0.5%, and this is by the where we can go. This is a Okay. Right? Then these are the apprehensions which I said that these are the apprehensions. If it can be managed, then we can go definitely. Then issues to be addressed. I was speaking here. Continuous improvement in physical, chemical and biological properties, improvement in soil organic carbon content. In certain parts of the Uttar Pradesh, it has been reduced to 0.02%. This is the situation. All input generation at the farm cosmic village, this Binita is going to take par excellence produce quality nutrition, and particularly in horticulture, we call it its therapeutic values, cost effective and eco-friendly technology, well suited to small and marginal farmers, for which Binita will tell, helpful in maintenance of natural resources to hand over to coming generation. This is also one of our major responsibility on our. This is the natural resource you said, then winter, and then cow, and then last of forestation. If you can go harder, automatically we can contribute something. Now this is the history of this agriculture in India. For thousands of years, India had been a cosmic country. But after from 14,000 and 1400, we got this when foreign invaders came, then we have put on the subsistence farming. Then conventional farming was started from 16 onwards, but within 5 or 6 decades, it has given its benefit. And conservation and jaivic agriculture, these are the two things already going. But time of farms show that will be cosmic farming again if we revert back, just like our forefathers they had been doing it. I think we can do again wonders. And cosmic energy forming a new concept. India has held ancestors respected earth, water, Panch Mahabhutas. Cosmic energy is all still in prime form. Sun is a giant powerhouse. Now NASA says that if 1% of the solar energy can be mediated, it can make the total energy requirement of the world. You can imagine. If solar energy of the day is non-mediated, it's radiated back the environment. Natural resources, what you are getting, it is soil, it is water, it is air, it is biodiversity, flora and fauna, all are available at the grace of the cosmos. Nature's gesture, you see, nature has provided all of them. Soil microbial consortia, soil dwellers, including earthworms, have capacity to mediate cosmic energy. In beneath millions of leaves, foliage, they are taking, inhaling the carbon dioxide and then exhaling oxygen, and whatever leaf mediate the cosmic energy in the process of photosynthesis, you know it, and requirement for food to every living one. Then there are number of the plants in the environment, in the that they are, we call it biological nitrogen fixing plant, including the legumes. Once we have the 78% nitrogen in atmosphere, and we are creating all these problems only for preparation of this manufacturing of this urea. When urea is manufactured, when used at both that time, we create the problem. Cow hump with the pyramid is a belly in shape and mainly replica of the cosmos. Horn has capacity to mediate the cosmic energy. Now, this farming practiced in consonance of energy mediated through nature gesture, we call it cosmic farming. I'll request to all of you, kindly share it and try to see there. Light of sun, moon, planet reaches to the earth in regular rhythm. Each contributes to life, growth, and form. Understanding gesture and effect of Raya, one can adapt the form operations to tune high quality. Moon has a definite plant on growth. Moon did, on the full moon, you see tides come in seas. Moon is does this cruises to the earth and she completes within 27 days, becomes transmitter of cosmic impulses to which sun plants reacts. Now, some facts on option. The sun is in ascending from spring to the summer and descending phase autumn to winter phase. Moon for 15 days in ascending phase and for 15 days in the descending phase. During ascending phase, Earth breathes above, and descending phase, this is the general phenomenon. Same phenomenon is observed in daily morning tuning. Right from up to afternoon to the midnight or early night, sun is, this earth is breathing down, and from this morning to the noon, it is uprooting. The sap inside plant flows upward and downward with ascending and descending phase. There are 4 restricted days in a month, 2 node days and 2 apogees and perigees. These need to be avoided from farm activities. Farm activities need to be tuned according to these benefits. Now this you see, this is a regular movement you must be seen. On full moon, the Moon is closest to the 40,000 kilometer as compared to our now moon. So this is the annual phenomenon. You see it, but you never care for that. There are negative and positive influences. Apogee and perigee. Apogee means farthest Earth, moon farthest from the Earth, and perigee means close, just like Purnima. And apogee, the moon is further at perigee. This distance is already I have told 40 them. At both these positions, moon gravitational pull put the Earth on too weak apogee or too strong. So these are the both create imbalance and negative influence of plant development, and water forces are either too excessive or too little. Pest attack on perigee because of the more of the mass is more. Plants require moderate gravitational force of moon to maintain their energy. Therefore, these 2 days need to be avoided. Now, these are the nodes and eclipse. Moon nodes occur at a point where moon's path crosses path of the sun. Point where moon path crosses during the ascending phase, it is called the. Then every month there are two nodes. One in the ascending phase. Ascending node we call it Rahu, and descending phase we call it Rahu. Node correspond to new moon. During this period, beneficial effect of the sun and moon are negated, and as such crop activities work should be avoided. I must tell you, Maria Thun, there is a German biologist. She worked for 35 years on how to harness cosmic energy in nature. On these eclipse days, she got artificial insemination of 1,000 animals. And for your information, all 1,000 babies, they were deformed. So this is the thing of the effect of this cosmos on human health. Activities on Moon and Saturn, what everything is moving. So on one day or sometimes twice in a month, on one corner is the moon, another corner is the sun. The moon effect is calcium, and because calcium process is connected with the growth of the form, and Saturn is related with the chlorophyll content of the plant. If more chlorophyll will be there, then photosynthetic efficiency will be more. If the strength of the plant is more, the growth of the plant is balancing effect of streaming into the earth produces very strong point. So one page calendar we are distributing, Binita is giving. Already you just have it, and according to you follow it. There is one preparation she will be discussing in detail about this BD 500 gold. 1 gram is used for 1 acre, and this is if it is sprayed early in the morning on this day when the moon and opposite are the opposite directions, it has wonderful impact. So I think she is going to discuss. These are some of the effects which we could see at CISH Lucknow. On the what happened, these are the 12 constellations. These are the moon, if it is in front of the Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. That the energy below the ground is much more energetic. So the development of underground plant we have to see. And if it is in front of the Pisces, carrier, and this carrier and Scorpio, then water is more, then we have to go for leafy crops. And if it is on Gemini and Aquarius, then we have to go for our crops. And if it is on this is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, then the most of the we are using the seed or fruit. Then these are the days we have to observe it, and we have seen practically this is giving a wonderful result. These are the again results of the CISH Lucknow, and you see in case of the carrot on root days, on node days, you see the same field adjoining field. Similarly, in case of the radish and in case of the cauliflower, and this was the sowing on around the full moon. You see the how much germination was there, and on zero moon there was so much because of the lack of the moisture in the soil. Now, opposite, there is one thing. We have some data about the potato, but this can be seen in other tuber crops if it is sown on apogee. Of course, we advocate that don't go for apogee, but incidentally, the type of the quality in tuber of potato is wonderful. So, but these are the researchable issues, and these are the issues. If your mind is ignited, you can go for all these things. Now, this is one of the another thing we did at CISH Lucknow when I was there on the food days on the same field per quintal area, 88 quintals to 125 quintals. If this much variation is there, it means this cosmic farming calendar is doing, and it is non-monetary input. We have to show it. And then this is the calendar for 2000. Again, 2000, a separate calendar will be there. All these things are there. I don't think you can see it, but you can see it that what are the expressions for given this there. Now, impact of biodynamic calendar. Yield enhancement in okra and wheat up to 16% at CSH. Sowing as per calendar signal increased yield attributes and yield of maize, soybean, kharif and wheat. This is from Palampur, Himachal Pradesh. Again, soya and pea is influenced positively each contributing factors, NR activity, chlorophyll content, protein and all this. Incidence of pest and disease are minimum in banana if it is transplanted on new moon day because of the moisture will be less. In potato, you have already discussed. In lemongrass, it has increased the oil content significantly. This is again from this Palampur. Calendar transplanting gave significantly higher yield in onion. Use of calendar help in higher yield and pest tolerance as an impact. Now, whatever the farmer if he is using is next year in December, I used to get, let's have please send biodynamic calendar for next year so that they can adopt it. It means it is working. This is the gist of the agriculture operations as per BD compost. Compost making, compost application, BD 500, these are all related with the earth. So these are the things has to be done once the moon is in the descending phase. Seed sowing again because you are going to put in the soil, then seed transplant. BD 500 I have tell, I think on the moon day and moon opposite Saturn the best day. These are the two stages. Only 1 gram of the BD 500 used for 1 acre of the land, but it has a miraculous effect. Then harvesting all crops underground, except underground, in ascending phase of the moon and underground crop on the descending phase of the moon. Cultivation of soil dressing, avoid agriculture on not home days. These are the things. Now, benefits of working. What is the benefit? Provide a broad frame for principle to plant activities. Real major benefit allow cosmic energies to revitalize the soil. The major problem we are feeling from this soil revitalization, food produced from such living soil. This is Steiner's statement. Soil has not only more nutrition but enhanced life forces, not whatever we are getting with contaminated with the pesticides and all this. We recede, which follow the cosmic rhythm, which is specialized in extracting every possible subsidy available in nature. This is non-monetary free bonus available. Every year there is demand, this I have discussing. Now tips for biodynamic calendar. One should try to follow crop activities as per Vedic calendar. For restricted as I have argued, no days, apogee and perigee should be avoided. But sowing potato I have discussed. BD products are prepared and used as per cosmic rhythm. Binita will tell. Use of calendar is non-mandatory input. If need be, included in all organic farming. Even if this benefit is there, then in conventional farming you can try it. And whatever we are talking all about this GM crop. In GM crop, there is a report from this Delhi that 15% enhancements in mustard is possible by using the GM variety. But 15 to 60% we have seen by simply adopting the biodynamic calendar. Your sincere efforts will help. PM Modi every day is talking for carbon print and all these things because we are not allocating for burning of the chemicals, we are not allocating for preparation of the manufacture of the urea and other chemicals. This is you have to do it. I think this is on brief. I decided that the major part should go to Binita, but if there are certain points, I think there is this is a new topic. There must be last of point. So I will be ready for discussion at any point if we can get it. Yeah. Hello.
Please unmute your mic, man.
Okay. Then I request Binita, isn't it? Hello.
Unmute
Yeah,
your
yeah.
mic.
Okay. Thank you,
Binita.
Dr. Pathak,
Now
very much
45
for.
minutes you have, you speak on.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I'll just take a few seconds, viewers, to just put my PowerPoint on the screen. Uh, So is my
Yes,
screen
ma'am.
visible? Okay, good morning, all viewers, and thank you very much for taking time out on a Sunday morning, afternoon to hear about biodynamic agriculture. I'd like to thank Dr. R.K. Pathak for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very interesting platform, and also Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi ji for making this platform such a interesting, and it is, in fact, it has a very far reach. In the morning, I got a lot of messages from the Northeast, from some of my old friends from the Department of Horticulture in Mizoram and also in Sikkim. So that means that this program has a very good reach, which is very, very interesting. And as Dr. Pathak said, that I have now been working with biodynamic agriculture now almost, in fact, last year in 2018, in fact, we celebrated 25 years of biodynamics in India. And of course, it was in the year 1998 what Dr. Pathak, recollected that the work started in Uttar Pradesh. And right now I'm based in Uttarakhand, but it was Uttar Pradesh at that time. In the picture, you can view there is a gentleman here called Dr. R.S. Tolia, and he was at that
Yeah.
time APC, you can say Uttarakhand being a new state. So I'd like to mention about late Dr. Tolia, as he's no more, because he was the one who pushed organic agriculture during the DASP days, the Diversified Agriculture Support Project, after Uttarakhand became a state, and also supporting new ideas and completely out of the box thinking, like biodynamic agriculture, which at that time was not very popular as a thought or as a concept, among the universities. And we all know that the universities play a very important role in formulating the policies of any agriculture program of the country. So, with this as a small background, this is where SARG, my organization, which is Super Agriculture Research Group, which I started out in the year 1998 after getting my training from Peter Proctor. And this is, we are pretty much now active in this part of the country. Our organization is primarily working only for the promotion of biodynamic agriculture. And it's very interesting that we have taken this up as a mission, and it is also a livelihood support for close to 150 people now, all range from senior managers to field workers, ICS inspectors, and all of that. And we primarily work in the technology transfer. Yes, so we gave in the last so many years, developed the concept of technology into the concept of biodynamic agriculture into a technology, and how it can be transferred among farmers and how can the farmers adopt them. This was the main thing to popularize this wonderful system, which has been giving very good results. So we kind of, our domain expertise is technology transfer, it's capacity building of farmers and also other stakeholders, which includes a lot of senior and junior officers from the department, from workers of NGOs, from corporate sector, because in the last decade, organic agriculture is now has actually becoming slowly accepted among all stakeholders, including consumers. So now we need a trained workforce to structure this whole aspect, and literally it's becoming now an industry. The most important part is the backward linkage, that is to work with farmers, to hold the farmers, to do hand holding, to support them in the adoption practices, which actually is the biggest challenge in promoting any system to do with agriculture in India. So we are also working in certification systems, also doing market support, and also doing a bit of action research and development. As Dr. Pathak mentioned, that the soil in India is in a particularly a very bad state of affairs. He talked about Uttar Pradesh, but we are working in Maharashtra, we are working in Madhya Pradesh, we are working in Uttarakhand. In fact, the National Soil Research, the Indian Soil Research Conservation Center in Dehradun itself, in Kolagarh, has stated that in Uttarakhand itself, we are losing close to 1 ton of soil per hectare per year. That's a phenomenal, statement to make, that if we are losing so much of our top level, top soil, what are we doing to bring it back? So basically, the soil being so poor, so weak, and in terms of its parameters, the carbon content is low, the pH is completely out of balance, the micro and macroorganisms are very, very minimum, and the support system or the recommendations which are provided to the farmers has got nothing to do, what this problem needs. They are simply increasing the nitrogen, they are increasing the mineral content in the form of chemical form, whether it is a zinc supplement or whether it is, everything is in isolation, and that reaches the soil for some time and it is finished, it kind of gets mineralized. So there is no way it is helping the earth or the soil to build back. So, and soil has been declared as a non-replenishable resource by the United Nations. So we are in a very bad state as far as the soil is concerned. I talked about this statement by Indian Soil and Water Conservation Institute, Dehradun. So with the deepening crisis of this soil, it is further now being reflected in our socio-economic situation. I just mentioned that a very large team of SARG is working in Maharashtra, and there we are working in the Vidarbha areas, where we all know is the bedrock of farmers' suicide, where now the better word given to it is social distress. And it's very sad that we can see this situation of soil is reflected out now on the social economic situation of farmers, and it is leading them to commit suicide. I will show you later on how in a lot of our success stories where we are working in Vidarbha, we have actually shown the models where the farmers have come out of these situations and are making good business using biodynamic agriculture. A small point I would like to say, that why we are in a kind of a situation today is that in the conventional agriculture system, everything is based on the external inputs. Whereas when we look at the organic farming system, especially biodynamic agriculture, the whole focus is on productivity, not production. So there is a minimum use of cash, because most of the inputs are made on in the farm itself. There is a huge element of skill enhancement, because when we make the farmer make his own compost, make the farmer make his own cowpat pit, which I will talk about, train him to use the various local botanicals to make his own biopesticide, tell him about the planting calendar. We are actually, bringing in a huge component of skill in the farmer, which is missing in conventional farming system. In conventional farming system, it is simply buying a product from the market, bringing it home in the farm, using it, and finish. It's end. So there is no capacity with the farmer is building. He is in the same situation as he was in ground zero. Whereas there is a huge component of health and social security also, which happens because of organic agriculture. Similarly, the ecosystem services which are being built in the whole farm, in the whole village, in the whole agriculture landscape. So all these are the points which unfortunately modern agriculture refuses to see, because it is all based on industrial agriculture. And in India, it is 60% agriculture, which is based on livelihood and subsistence, which is perhaps COVID has showed us that we had no food riots, because all the laborers, the migrant workers, about lakhs of them came back into their villages, and at least they could eat over there. This was only possible because we had 65% people living in the rural areas. So I'm not going to digress, but this is a huge strength of ours, where we have to look at it in a very different approach. Coming into now biodynamic agriculture, where we basically positioned. So this is the problem of our country's agriculture. How can biodynamic agriculture as a tool or as a system, can it support all the different aspects of our agriculture, whether it is soil, whether it is the social economic situation, and also the consumers? So biodynamic agriculture principles are based on the aligning with the energies preponderant in the universe, which are responsible for the creation and preservation of all life. And in the later slides, I will show you how each one of these words can be explained in principles. The person who started biodynamic agriculture was this gentleman called Dr. Rudolf Steiner. This is way back in 1871, and he was born in Kobowitz in Poland. It was a lecture which he gave in Kobowitz in Poland, which were now like the Bible or the guiding principles of biodynamic agriculture. What is very interesting to note is that Rudolf Steiner, though he was a chemist by profession, but he was also a very important and a very active member of the World Theosophical Society. He was greatly influenced by this lady Annie Besant, who we all have heard of. She was a Gandhian. She has worked in India, and in India she started the India was a member of the World Theosophical Society. So there is a lot of the principles of biodynamic agriculture is about the cow, about the energies in the cow. So there you can see a lot of our imprints of our Vedic scriptures in the principles of biodynamic agriculture. But unfortunately, in our Vedic scriptures, everything is written in poem. It is subject to its interpretation. But in biodynamic agriculture, Steiner has articulated this whole knowledge, this whole information, and produced it to the world like a science. So these are the two different, I think, ways you can understand it. Steiner had a huge influence of this man called Goethe, who was one of the greatest philosophers of Germany, who basically, for the first time, brought out that there is no difference between the matter and the spirit. So the matter is incomplete without spirit, and the spirit is incomplete without matter. These are the two basic things that we have to understand. If you, for some moment, we just empty our heads and we just take this into consideration, that there is no matter without spirit, and there is no spirit without the matter. Biodynamic agriculture is also to understand, we have to go into the epistemology of it, that is to understand the nature of this knowledge. So when we go into the understanding of the nature of this knowledge, we see that there are something known as life energies. Now, what are these life energies? How do they work? How do they affect the soil and the plant, and eventually us? So if you keep this also as a consideration, then we see that biodynamics can be understood as certain life energies which are working with the energies which produce and maintain life. So largely biodynamic involves, firstly, what Dr. Pathak very nicely he explained, the cosmic rhythms which come to us, or we can use them in the form of a calendar, जिसको हम हिंदी में पंचांग कहते थे. And using a panchang is a traditional, age-old tradition in Indian agriculture systems. Even today, if you go into the villages and you tell them, the old people who are still, they say, हाँ हाँ हम तो we never used to farm without the use of panchang. वो तो हमारे गांव के पंडित बताते थे भाई कि कब हमको किसकी बोनी करनी है, कब हमको हार्वेस्ट करना है, कब हल लगाना है, कब नहीं लगाना है. They used to give us the forecast of rain, they used to give a forecast of disease and all of that. We may perceive it as something very superstitious without having science, but actually these are the cosmic rhythms which were being followed, which were being compiled together like data, like actually now the word which is going around is algorithms. These are nothing but are not just algorithms. This was factual. This is mathematics, which was on the basis of our rhythms. The second thing is the biodynamic preparations, which I will talk about. Now, the interesting part is that we use the cosmic rhythms not only as a planting calendar, but we use the cosmic rhythms even to make these biodynamic preparations. The third thing to understand is that these preparations are in principle used like homeopathic application. So we don't use the preparations in quintals or in tons. We use them in grams. And we also potentize them, just like a homeopathic doctor, he potentizes the homeopathy medicine. It is potentized and then it is used onto the farm. So this is the three aspects around which biodynamic agriculture works. The last thing, which is also very, very important, which now after so many years of working with biodynamic agriculture, we are training, making the farmers being aware. It is more about an aspect of awareness that your farm, कि जो आपका खेत है, जो आपकी पूरी खेती है, इट इज एन ऑर्गेनिज्म. ये भी एक शरीर है, एक देह है, इसको आपको एक यूनिफॉर्मिटी के हिसाब से देखना है. एंड इफ द फार्मर हैज सेपरेटेड हिमसेल्फ फ्रॉम हिज खेती, फ्रॉम हिज फार्म, he is becoming too mechanical. So this is where that spiritual part of the of biodynamic agriculture comes into being. Just by being aware that this is my farm, he should be aware about it. He used to try to establish a contact with the farm by being more active with it, by just being aware that this is his farm, and to stop looking at it as a mechanical process, how a conventional agriculture talks about. So with this is the general understanding, which I hope everybody is still with me. Now I will come into the preparations. So one of the first preparations that we work with is the preparation 500. Before that, I would like to tell you that there are two basic preparations in biodynamic agriculture. 500 and 501, they are called as the field preparations. And 502 to 507, they are called as the compost preparations, or we use the CPP preparation. So they don't go directly into soil, whereas the 500 and 501 go directly into the soil. Now 500, what is so important about 500? So 500 and 501, they are the two polarities around which, main polarities around which biodynamic agriculture functions. So it basically represents the calcium forces, the 500, and it is made in the autumn equinox, that is the descending part of the earth, what Dr. Pathak talked about, because this is the time where the earth is breathing inside. So below the earth, activities are very strong. Above the earth, the activity is sleeping. So we have winter. तो ऐसा लगता है हर चीज dormant है. But below the earth, everything is active. Hence, the 500 is made in this time, and it is then taken out after 6 months. It is resting inside the earth. It is actively working inside the earth, and then in spring we take it out, and we use this preparation. We use the horns of only lactating cow horns for this purpose. Now, why lactating is a question which most people ask. It's because the lactating cow, preferably of a desi cow, has the maximum during the time of the reproduction. The activity, the lactation activity, the reproductive activity makes the cow intestines, the entire digestive system of the cows very, very active as compared to a non-lactating cow. Now you will probably ask me that what has digestion got to do with the horns? Yes, this is exactly what the science is. The understanding is that the cows of the horn play a very important role in the digestive system of the animal. And all the calcium activity, the calcium energy, which we need, is actually after the entire reproductive energy and the digestive energy in the form of calcium comes to rest in the cows. It is actually mineralizing in the cow, in the horn. That is why whenever we open a cow horn, we will find calcium layers inside the cow horn. Whereas in a bull horn, you will not find these calcium layers. You will not find them also in a cow which has never lactated in her life. So there is a connection, 100% connection working in the cow's body, and hence we find we take the horns which has the calcium layers. So we make this 500. The 500 is used on soil. It is used. This is how the picture of freshly produced 500. Dr. Pathak mentioned about the huge amount of work on microbial analysis, which has actually happened in the Central Institute of Subtropical Horticulture, where Dr. Pathak was director for so many years. This you can see the example of certain actinomycetes on the horn. This is a fresh horn which is being harvested. This is how it is broadcast onto the field. This is a very important part which we also have to see. I talked about potentizing. So this 500 is stirred in 13 liters of water, 30 grams in 13 liters of water is stirred for close to 1 hour, and it is then broadcast on the field one day before sowing. So the first spray is always done one day before sowing. You can see the screen on the left. And then we can have other sprays also, depending on the package of practice of the crop that we are doing. So this is as far as the 500 is concerned. Now 501 is the second important preparation of our field spray. This important part of the 501 is the quartz crystal. Now, just like 500, I said that we use the cow horn and the dung of a lactating cow. The cow horn is also for lactating, and the cow dung is also of the lactating cow. In 501, we use the quartz crystal, which has close to 85% pure quartz in it. And this is a representative of the Saturn. So the polarity which I was talking about, the calcium and the Saturn polarity, they are the first and the prime polarity of our planetary system. So the calcium brings about the production and Saturn brings the structure. So these are the two main aspects which are needed not only in the plant but even in the human body. These are the two major aspects, the polarities: how we grow, how we form, how our organs form, and how all our various systems like digestive, respiratory, endocrine, and other systems, how they are going to eventually develop if this polarity is good, is balanced. So with the 501, this is now done in the opposite part. So this, we lay the horns down after grinding quartz crystal. We make a small batter of it, we put it in the horn, and this is laid under the ground in the spring equinox. मतलब April में हमने 500 हमारा निकाला and हमने 501 हमारा डाला, which will be then taken out in the winter equinox, because it's a polarity, it's the opposite. This is the polarity of Saturn. And in our Hindu astrology, we all know that the Saturn makes something very slow. So this planet takes 32 to 34 years to complete one cycle around the in its axis. So it makes something slow. But while it makes something slow, it increases the structure of whatever it is influencing. Here, the important mineral which it is working on is silica. There it is calcium 500, and here it is silica. Now, how do we use the 501? 501 is not used on the soil. It is used above the plant. It is actually providing a fog, a mist on the plant. And the first recommendation is at 2-leaf stage, and the second recommendation is later. This spray that you see is of sugarcane. And in sugarcane, we have seen, I will show you some slides later, we have done a 4-year study with the Vasant Sugar Institute in Pune. And the results were the best as compared to even organic conventional plots. So this provides the structure to the sugarcane crop, where silica plays a very important role. And the Brix levels of sugar increases phenomenally. In Uttarakhand, I'm doing a project with the 600 farmers who are doing biodynamic sugar, and their Brix level is always higher than the whole region of that place. It brings in profit. All the sugar goes into a local khansari who is making organic sugar, gur, jaggery, a lot of things. And he's always happy with the production and with the overall economy of scale that he gets. So these are now after 500 and 501, we use some other preparations, 502 to 7, which it is not possible for me to go in great detail with the paucity of time, but it is used basically made through certain herbs. So we have the yarrow, chamomile, dandelion, the stinging nettle, we have the valerian. So these are, and the oak bark. Most of these herbs are available in the temperate regions. So in Nainital area where I do these preparations was a very ideal place where most of the raw material was found, in the wild. One or few like valerian, the seed I have to get from Germany, where we do not get that kind of valerian in Himalayan areas. So these herbs are then used with certain visceral organs of certain animals, And the same way, these preparations are fermented in 6 months, and then they are used in small portions. This is a small poster of the preparations that one can see. A small glimpse on the top left. You can see I'm making the preparation 503 by using chamomile. So now these preparations, like I said, are the compost preparations. With these preparations, 1 gram each, basically we make compost CPP and other liquid manures and things, which are then used on and introduced into the farm to get us a good crop. This is the CPP, a very interesting family photograph with an organic farmer. So you can see behind there is a native compost, or it could be a vermicompost, and in front there is a small, we call it a kund, like a oven kund, which is the CPP is made by the farmer. Now the cow pack pit we, in fact, you'd be very happy to know that in India it is served with the guidance, of course, with Mr. Proctor, that we made CPP the most favorite farm input of farmers in India. Nowhere in the world has CPP famously doing as much it is doing here. In Germany, this is called, or in Europe, it is called the barrel compost. But it was never given such a lot of importance as how we looked at the cow pit as a very important tool for a small farmer to get wonderful results in biodynamic agriculture. So we have made CPP a kind of a multi-purpose farm input. So एक बार ये CPP बना लेता है farmer, which is basically made again with the dung of lactating cow, and 2 sets of preparations are used in it. Now, after 60-70 days, that you can see how my colleague Mr. Upadhyay is holding this little brown stuff like chai patti. And this material you can use to make other composts. You can use it for tree paste, seed treatment. So it has done so well. This year in Haridwar, more than 400 farmers have bought CPP from other farmers who are making it for seed treatment of wheat. It's very, very, very interesting how well this is doing. So with a combination of seed treatment of CPP, which has got a huge, in talking about the language of microbes, it has the maximum number of microbes in it, which are living together, effective microbes, if you want to call them, which are really enhancing the germination and other growth potential of that particular seed. This in the picture is Mr. Uli Herter, who is right now the leader of our biodynamic agriculture in the world. He visited the farm, our farm, Super Farm, in 2018 after the World Congress. Now, what does biodynamic agriculture do now onto the soil? So now I will start showing you and talking about. So this is biodynamic agriculture with its science, but how does it work on the field, and how do we get the farmers to adopt them? See, this is a very famous picture of ours that we had taken. On the left is a chemical farmer. You can see how poor soil structure this is. The soybean crop, the root does not even find place for it to make its way into the soil. And on the right hand, 2 sprays of 500 and some compost. In the second year, this is the result of the soil. So you can see the nodules. You can see how well the soil is doing. We looked at a biodynamic agriculture as a game changer for a small farmer, because we are looking at the amass of dung which was available in our country. 200 million tons of cattle, 3 million tons of dung which is available every season. What can you do with this? We can do everything. We can solve the entire issue of agriculture in our country. See, look at this. Now, wherever we go, wherever we move around in the agriculture, in the rural areas, this is what we find. This is how, at least, we started our journey in Uttarakhand, by addressing this huge dump of biomass and dung, which was being dumped, because this is the barnyard waste coming out from the cow sheds. It comes out from the agriculture farms, and it is kept just like this, these mountains of this, and it is then used after 5 months, 3 months. So the farmer is no longer practicing any kind of a composting process, which probably it used to do 100 years ago or 50 years or 60 years ago. All this material, this FIM, which most scientists love to call, contains nothing. It is trash. It's better not to push this out into the soil rather than putting anything else, because this contains less than 0.3% nitrogen. It is basically, when it starts decomposing into the field, it will emit carbon monoxide, even methane. It is the most of the nutrients have been leached. It is the biggest carrier of the white grub in the mountains and in all dry areas, causing such a big problem into the fields, where millions and millions of rupees is then being spent to kill that white grub. But it is actually housing itself in this material, and we are putting this out into the fields. Now, this thing was the first mission that was taken up in Uttarakhand, where we started to then start what we called as the biodynamic compost, and made compost only the basis of our movement. So I think this was why people like Dr. Tolia, a bureaucrat who could understand and accept biodynamic agriculture, he says, "Don't tell me about this planetary things and all this thing. I don't want to know. You are going to make good compost. If it will elevate the poverty of the farmer, if it will elevate the farmer and bring him to some business, you give me that idea." So I said, fine. Here is look what biodynamic compost can do for the farmer. You get very good compost towards the end with very small expenditure. And this is how this idea started to come. This is making a compost in the mountains. You can, yes, this is the nettle which is available with us. By putting green matter, we enhance nitrogen in the compost. By increasing bone meal, we bring in calcium, phosphorus into the compost. So this is the farmer's factory, which he can make, using everything around him. So similarly, the compost in the tropic areas. This on the left lady is the Joint Secretary of Government of India, INM division in the year 2017. And she was the one who also took this up, as she wasn't successful, but she did tried her level best to make this into a national program. But of course, it remained into those states only where we are working. But she would said that, yes, this is something which this country needs to do. And here is work talking to with all the different agriculture department workers. So in the tropical areas, in like Maharashtra, MP, the composts are much larger, they are bigger. Here the agriculture waste is available is much more. Doing this as a small cost benefit analysis, we have done hundreds of such analysis, but a very small something that we have done in the year 2018 is this farmer called Rahul Gopnarayan on my left and Gajanan Pandurang on my right. 1 acre of cotton crop, and I will just share with you the expenditure. See, 10,000 rupees spent by Rahul Gopnarayan and 18,000 spent by Gajanan on all kinds of inputs. These includes the cost of compost, even if he has to buy the preparations. Here the farmer has to buying DAP, NPK, urea, insecticide, fungicide, all of that. So the total expenditure here is 10,000, is 18,000. And eventually the cost benefit analysis, that the net incomes, I'm sorry, this is a shortcut. So, but the net incomes which Rahul Gopnarayan got with his crop was 35,000 rupees after spending 10,000, and what Gajanan got was after spending 18,000, he got a net income of 25,000. So this was the kind of the cost benefit, because the production, the input cost becomes so low, of the farmer, that there is a net increase in the investment, in the profits. So we have hundreds of such kinds of cost benefit, that when you start doing biodynamics, how much it affects the economy of the farmer, which today I think is the most important part. This is the one-page calendar that we promote. Dr. Pathak talked about it. It is always up there in our website. We also print close to 20,000 such calendars each year in 3 different languages. But it is there in the website for free. So the farmers are using the single-page calendar, and using it onto the farm. See, this is a very interesting example of the Panchang of 2017. This farmer in Maharashtra with the jawar crop, only a meter apart. The left one is his crop and the right one is his brother's, who they don't talk to each other. So this is biodynamics and that is non-biodynamics. This is a very interesting experiment which I did during the lockdown on 21st June 2020. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Pathak, you must see this. And on this particular slide, now on 21st June, if you remember, there was a very major solar eclipse. And I was in my farm that day and I sowed these seeds of radish on that day of solar eclipse. And you can see none of these, I have taken them out after almost 25 days. And then I saw that none of the roots were growing straight, excepting maybe one. So this is a absolute impact of the eclipse on the roots of radish. So the planting calendar has got this kind of a result, which so the planting calendar is very popular with our farmers. These are some, I'll come back to compost, some very good quality, high class compost, which is being done by the new age farmers also now, which we are working with. So, and compost has, like I said, has become our campaign. We make compost almost 100 compost per day, I think, is being done every day by us, which is, I think, one of the, would say, the foundation programs of of our work and to promote biodynamic agriculture. These now I will just run through some slides where good biodynamic agriculture results are there. So you can see on the left this Bansi wheat, which we are promoting in the Ganga Namami Ganga project that we are doing. This is Arhar pigeon pea on the right. Now these are some old experiments, but Dr. Pathak has been involved. He was there as a visitor, as a guest visitor. So the treatment of biodynamics in very complex issues, and particularly with horticulture. So like Phytophthora is a big problem in citrus crops, where the Central Institute of Citrus, Nagpur, spends a lot of energy and also money in trying to bring relief to these farmers. And there were certain Phytophthora crops, as you can see, the changes which has been brought in by biodynamic agriculture only in 6 months. There you see, and this is only in a month that in Telara district, this on the left the tree and on the right the tree, and there will be a time where see this tree now before rejuvenation and after rejuvenation. So the kind of results simply by a package of practice. Dr. Pathak, I think you're recognizing yourself here in this slide where you had visited in the year 2008. आपने अपने आप को पहचाना होगा. So yes, and so this is Dr. Pathak was at that time consulting in the NHM, and he had come to see the interesting results of the on the Phytophthora. So similarly, working with a number of universities and government institutions where we are getting very good results. This is the I talked about the sugarcane results that we got in biodynamic agriculture. This was the first ever 4-year study which was done in BSI, and a lot of farmers have started now adopting biodynamics in sugarcane. This was the yields. So you can see T1 is the best, which was the biodynamic crop in the 4th year. Some more results with different crops. And the best is eventually is the, the best prizes also that we get finally, which is also very important. Does the farmer, besides getting low input costs, besides getting a good ecological, environment and his farm, he also gets the best price from the consumer. I think this is also a very, very important thing, because eventually it is now the market which becomes the most important for the consumer. And here also, we also do a lot of hearts now. We have started to market the biodynamic products and give it to the consumers. The first time the consumer says, what was this? Was this organic? What was it different? So then we say, yes, this was different. This was biodynamic food. World over, I must tell you that biodynamic agriculture is certified under a separate label called Binita, and it is the final product is always more expensive than organic. So it is a sought after label now, and especially after COVID, the demand of Demeter has really increased, and there are now close to 50 projects in India. Of course, they are all export projects, which are Demeter projects. So this is the end, and this is our website. And I think in the end, I'd like to thank you for listening to this session on biodynamic agriculture. I also like to thank the Horticulture Society and Dr. Pathak for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Okay. So if there are any questions, anyone would like to ask, I don't know how I'm supposed to get those questions.
Yeah, we have question, ma'am.
Okay. How are you doing this?
I'm putting on the screen, sir. Ma'am,
Okay. Okay. How is it possible to collect horns from lactating cows in how much number? Yeah, so what happens is that most of the cows, when they die the natural death, the cow horn, the cow hoof, everything, it goes into an industry. So, as you know, that a lot of products are made from the cow bones, horns, and hooves. So, usually we go to these. They're called as the bone factories. They are everywhere, and we just spend some time in selecting the different horns, and we just collect them from there. But each horn is used for close to 3 to 4 years. तो एक साल में एक 4 साल में 5 साल में once you have to do this exercise.
Yeah, any more questions?
No, we don't have.
Are there any more questions?
I'm trying to find, but we don't get none. If
Okay.
question comes, we will reply by mail.
Right.
I will forward to you, ma'am.
Okay.
So,
Yes, sir. You want to conclude, sir?
yes, I think there was some problem and you could not take the advantage of those things. But with 20 years of experience, I can say biodynamic as a whole, it is compatible of to meeting all the requirements. But what I can say, and I used to discuss with Binita also, if biodynamic, because it is major concentration is the improvement of the soil functions. Already you have seen it by 501, 502, cow pit and biodynamic compost. And then the major problem is of the environment. And environmental pollution is one of the another problem. Unless and rhizosphere and biosphere both can be strong, then you can see. So I call it by integration of this biodynamic farming for enhancing the rhizosphere and by enhancing integrating with this Homa farming, which is basically for enhancing the rhizosphere, because more than 72% nutrient we get from the atmosphere. If these can be integrated and these can be integrated, then I don't think we have any problem of meeting the requirement And I challenge my friend Dr. Swasto there that even with this GM crop, I asked with this IIVR, let us take brinjal with the conventional production and brinjal, I call it by integrating, I call it this cosmic farming. I think, and we take some of the selected farmers in Varanasi district and see how these two technologies are going on. I'm not against the GM crop. When I was director, I sent one of the scientists for training. But when I could see for nutrient management, for other things, we have to go for agrochemicals. Then agrochemicals, again, we are going to do what? That we are disturbing the soil biology and we are going to disturb environmental ecology. So we are already predators, parasites, and birds are going. But in biodynamic farming and hogna farming, these things are already going to integrate, and that could be another. This Modi is telling that no, reduce the nitrogen content urea by 20%. I said there is no need of nitrogen to prepare it. You just take the advantage of nature. Nature has given everything. If this potash is a non-constituent element, it is taken from Mother Earth, and with the biomass it is returned. And if the biomass can be transferred just like biodynamic compost, what Binita has said, I don't think requiring a gram of the chemicals. And now, once we say it in organic farming, we say we require 40 elements, some trace element, particularly for the quality production. And once you put any chemical, this number of the trace elements and other things are not there. So, Binita, again, we are really grateful from the core of our heart. I think you must have this ignite mind of some of the people. 20 years back, you ignited my people. My job is done. Yes, sir. Uh, Yes, Dr. Srivastav, I must tell you, at CISH Lucknow, one of the friend, Dr. Ram, he has a complete package when I joined. Then we took one of the NHB program in case of the vegetables. We have the technology for mango and guava at CISH Lucknow. Some of the vegetables we have at nearby villages. And with this complete, at that time I was not knowing about this our Homa farming. By simply with this biodynamic farming, we have cabbage, we have the brinjal, all these things, and those farmers they are not using any chemicals. But I'll say somehow the thing has to wait. But critically, I see that biodynamic itself is a complete technology. But because of the environmental pollution, it doesn't have. I mean, it will have indirect impact because the agrochemicals are not there. Environment is good, but if these could be integrated together, and we are all myself, Binita, and everything at your disposal. My mail number is there, my phone number is there. I urge all of you. It is a responsibility to the scientist forum of the particular from the Department of Horticulture and particularly in vegetables where the pesticides are sprayed in the morning, brinjal is harvested and put in the market, and by evening it goes to your belly. So I think this is a challenge, and I'm grateful again to Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi and Mr. Shiv for giving me this opportunity. All these are available on YouTube, and after YouTube, if you have any problem, anytime you can question it. We are already at disposal. I have already played my innings, but just I'm trying to ignite your people that you can really a golden chance to be there. I think Binta will continue at least for 2 decades, 3 decades, so that we'll be able to translate it. So it's good. I think this has please put in this tube so that people can read it and then they can interact it. I think Binta's mail number is there, phone number is there, so then we can do it. So with these words, I am grateful to Binita particularly and particularly to the Shiv and Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi and particularly all my friends, listeners who learned this thing. So good afternoon to all of you with the hope that all are you going to meet this corona pandemic. Of course, if the food is good, environment is good. We used to say last week, try to live in rich atmosphere. Don't try to be richer. Try to richer is not going to help you. This corona will take you. But if you are trying to rich in the nice atmosphere, this wonderful atmosphere, and that is the answer for corona pandemic. So again, I am grateful to all of you, particularly this. There had been some problem from my side. I apologize for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Shiv. Thank you.
Thank you for wonderful talk, audience. Please send your query question to progressivehorticulture@gmail.com. Response of audience was tremendous. very encouraging remarks. We are highly grateful, Dr. R.K. Pathak and Ms. Binita Shah, to your sparing time and delivering such an important talk. Thank you, audience, for your active participation and support. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.